Okay guys, here's the Crayon truck. And you see here, this is my router hitting the surface of the wood as it was cutting. So, as it was working on this piece, it kept hitting the wood. So, nothing lines up. When you put these together, they don't line up inside. We also have on the other two where it actually cut through the top of the piece. I can only assume that when the router was hitting the piece of wood, it threw off the entire cut, which really isn't that far-fetched of a thought. This is the same setup that I used when I was doing the tic-tac-toe board. So I think I just had it set wrong. If you look at the piece of pine here that I started with, the starting corner is right here. You can see I apparently either the bit dropped just, that's maybe a half a millimeter, but I was only had my bit hanging out an extra quarter or 3/4 of a millimeter, which wouldn't have been a problem except either when I turned the power on to the unit, the router dropped down a little bit, or when I was zeroing it, I hit a button on the keyboard when I was zeroing everything out. Somehow it got messed up. So it doesn't really matter how, just that it did. So unfortunately this is going to go in the fail bin. But we did learn quite a bit from this, which is stick your bit out a little bit further than you need to, and to double check your depth when you're starting out. Now the reason this went all the way through without me catching this problem was my own dumb fault. Completely my fault. I set this up to run, and I got tied up with other projects out in the shop. I came in once, maybe twice. I think you'll see in the time lapse that I reset it and blew the dust off. Never looked really close at what it was doing. But when I came in, it wasn't cutting out the bodies, it was cutting out the holes in the titers. I was never in here when it was cutting out the body, so I wouldn't be able to see the problem before it finished. I'm also going to show you the wasteboard here. If you haven't seen the wasteboard video, this is why we use them. Is this right here. This is the damage that would have been done to the bed of my CNC machine if I didn't have a wasteboard hooked up or set up on here. And you can see those cuts are way too deep, and it almost acts like it was cutting more than a millimeter or half a millimeter past the cut depth. I had it set to cut half a millimeter deeper than the actual project or the material thickness. So I'm going to safely say that this is all my fault. This was poor starting, which just magnified through the whole project. And that's all me. It really is. So these are my calipers. You can see we're just over half a millimeter. That's how much space we're talking about. Me cutting through. So if it had worked correctly, you can see there wouldn't have been much cut through. Kind of a size reference. Right here is my iPhone. So you can see half a millimeter if you don't work in metric. It's a really small amount. So we're going to try it again. We're going to hang that bit out another 2 or 3 millimeters from where it is right now. Give it a good shot at this project. And throw another blank in and do it again. I don't think my speed's wrong. I don't think my depths were wrong, other than the fact that I think I started off bad. and that just magnified through the whole project. So, fail bin, but we're going to do it again, really quick. So you should see these two videos going up pretty close to each other.